Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Death Metal Wonder Woman. Death Metal Wonder Woman here is part of the Collective Build, or Build-A-Figure Darkfather wave. She's the third of 4 figures you need to complete Darkfather. So Death Metal is an offshoot that came out of the Dark Knight's Metal storyline. This is the main Wonder Woman from the comics, but she's in a kind of crazy outfit. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys, got the Spawn logo there. Ages 12 plus. DC Multiverse, Wonder Woman. Collective Build, Darkfather. One side of the package, we've got Wonder Woman from Dark Knight's Death Metal. Other side simply says Wonder Woman. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits, and there's her barcode, in case that helps anybody. And in the back here, here's Wonder Woman posed up. Here's instructions on how to build Darkfather, a checklist of all the pieces, and then here is the rest of the wave. So I found my figure at Target, stumbled across the entire wave here. Very happy to check that off my list. She comes with a chainsaw instead of a traditional sword, and she looks a little bit like Big Barda. She also comes with a display stand and a collector's card, and then the head and cape of Darkfather. So with no further ado, let's open her up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She does come with a chainsaw, as well as a display stand and a collector's card. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's take a look at the actual figure. So this is Wonder Woman as she appeared in Death Metal. She's got this absolutely fantastic looking armor on. So let's take a peek. Starting with her head here, she's got that sort of crown tiara, and it really screams Big Barda. I've seen a lot of people saying they're going to make a custom of that out of her, and that is a great idea. They've already done some of the hard work for you. Her eyes, they look great. Blue eyes, got the black eyeshadow around them. Paint job excellent, at least on the face. Black lipstick, screaming death metal. She got black long flowing hair with blue highlights, blue tips. It looks great. The sculpting, the paint detail, very pleased with what I'm looking at. Going further down, she's got these sort of skulls, making shoulder pads. I like it. Leather straps there. My Wonder Woman does have a couple paint flaws on her chest here. A couple little issues there. I saw something sticking out of the edge here. So, not perfect. A lot of the McFarlane figures I get at perfect paint jobs. She sure does not. She's got these gold gauntlets here. I could see her deflecting some bullets with that. Looks good. The red, the blue, the traditional looking outfit, at least to a point. I see a little more paint issue on her leg here. Looks like we've got double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. The armor looks just superb. She's got high heels, but she's very easy to stand. This front part, flat, works very good. Cape in the back, I'm not sure how well this is coming out on camera. It's textured. It looks fantastic. It's made not too thin, not too thick. I'd say just perfect for a cape. Very pleased with what I'm looking at. The little skirt on top of her shorts inside there. Overall, I think she's my favorite of the trinity of death metal figures. So I would say my 2 cents on this Wonder Woman. She looks great. I actually really like her armor. I'm not a huge fan of the different wild looks of death metal. And frankly, I would rather have a comic rebirth or even a classic version of Wonder Woman. I don't see how McFarlane finds it justified to release these death metal versions before classic or iconic comic versions. Her armor looks pretty good. It definitely screams Wonder Woman. Looks a little bit more primal than I'm used to. She is a very good looking figure. The armor's good, but I'm still waiting on that comic Wonder Woman. Now let's check out her accessories. And let's start with the boring stuff. She's got this display stand here, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, says DC at the bottom. It's got one peg for the peg holes on her feet. Very thin, very basic. And here's her collector's card. As you can see, we've got the Death Metal Wonder Woman posed up holding her chainsaw. Wonder Woman, Dark Knight's Death Metal on the back. Little description. If anyone wants to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now let's look at her chainsaw. This is a very unconventional type of weapon for Wonder Woman. Normally she just uses her lasso and possibly a sword and shield. In the comics, she melted down her invisible jet and made the chainsaw, And then her lasso of truth was the cord she'd use to start the chainsaw. Pretty clever. You can see the blade is blue around the black part on the side, and the rest is made of gold. Some pretty nice sculpt detail on the handle. Looks like something is wrapped around there. Overall, pretty cool, pretty different, pretty badass. You can see mine is pretty curled from the way it was in the package. Should be pretty easy to fix that. So I took a cup of boiling water, dipped this chainsaw in there for about a minute, took it out, and it reverted right back to the straight way it should have been from the start. Here's Wonder Woman holding onto the chainsaw, and then in a little more of an aggressive stance with the chainsaw. And while not exactly an accessory for Wonder Woman, she does come with Darkfather's cape and head. And I'll tell you, they look great. You can totally tell that's supposed to be a Batman and Darkseid hybrid. The square jaw resembles both Bruce Wayne and Darkseid. The stone-like skin, the yellow eyes, the angry cowl, short ears. Looks fantastic. And don't get me started on his cape. This thing looks great. Long, flowing, massive, just textured all over it. Very, very pleased and impressed so far. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, she's sitting at about 7.2 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair over 18 centimeters. Now let's look at her articulation. Starting with her head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side, a little bit obstructed from her hair. She can turn that side more, not too much more than this way because of all the hair. She can look up and down about that far. She could tilt her head from side to side, but the hair is going to prevent that. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. She does have a butterfly joint between her shoulder and chest area, just increasing the range of motion there. She's got a sort of bicep cut, a little lower than usual. Going to rotate here. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. Her wrist here has a ball in it, it can't rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Her torso here doesn't have any visible articulation. She's got the soft goods overlay. It does have articulation inside, but frankly it won't hold really any of the poses, just kind of bounces back into place, whether you rotate forward and back. So essentially useless articulation under here. Legs go out about this far, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. As far as rotation goes, almost non-existent. Legs go forward about that far, back, not much. Double jointed knees below that, they go back this far. And their ankle here has a ball in it, similar to the wrist, but you can't really access it. Forward and back just a tiniest bit. Can rotate, no problem. Can not really tilt and rock, at least I'm not getting mine to budge much that way. And she has toe articulation also. Her articulation is pretty standard for McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. A little disappointed on the ab and torso area. Most of McFarlane figures have a ball joint in the torso as well as a ball joint in the waist, and she very well may have that, but none of the articulation really works. Sure, you can bend her and move her, but that's only if you hold the figure in that position. If you let go, it bounces right back. In addition to that, the ball on her wrist, it looks really bad from certain angles. And I'm a little disappointed that I couldn't get her ankles to tilt and rock. Almost all the figures have that ball joint in there, and they go forward, rotate, and tilt. At least I couldn't get hers to budge at all. And that's not fully accurate, although she can't really rotate around or go from side to side. But if you do lean her back, she is going to hold at least some of those poses. Here's Wonder Woman taking on Merciless. She does not like people abusing her name, her image, or her logo, especially what she found out about Merciless, where he came from, his origin. She really despises him. He is dirtying up her memory. Both them being strong super beings, they're able to fight for hours on end. And of course, when it's all said and done, Wonder Woman is the victor here. Now let's check her out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So here's Wonder Woman next to the rest of this wave of death metal figures. Buy all 4 of these figures and you get to collect to build Darkfather here. Here she is next to all the other Wonder Woman figures McFarlane has made so far. the next one's coming out is going to be another release of the Last Night on Earth Wonder Woman, but she's going to have a Dr. Fate helmet on. And honestly, we don't actually know about any other Wonder Woman figures beyond that. Fingers crossed for a Rebirth comic-style Wonder Woman. Then, next to Merciless, I want to say he's a Batman and Wonder Woman hybrid, but he's more so a Batman and Ares hybrid. And here she is, next to all the different various female figures that McFarlane has made so far. Here she is, in front of my entire McFarlane DC Multiverse collection, including all the variants. I've got a total of 76 figures and 2 vehicles, and that's not counting Red Hood or Death Metal Batman Twice, as they're pretty much the exact same release. And here's a little bit more of an aerial view of the entire collection, in case anything was missed. Now let's check her out, next to some other Wonder Woman figures. Here she is, with all my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Wonder Woman figures. And here, next to a Noble Toys bendy figure of Wonder Woman. And now, next to all of my Mattel Wonder Woman figures. And then here she is, next to my entire 6 and 7 inch Wonder Woman collection. And here, next to a Wonder Girl figure. And now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix her with. Since she's a McFarlane figure, they're the 7 inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect and work my way smaller. Here she is, next to some of her McFarlane brothers and sisters. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7 inch scale. And here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here she is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a very solid Wonder Woman release. She's my favorite look of the trinity of heroes from Death Metal. The trinity being Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I actually like her armored look here. I do hope they make a comic Wonder Woman, both Rebirth and Classic in the future. Surprised they're dragging their feet on that so much. Her articulation leaves a little bit to be desired. Pretty good in the arms and the legs, but both the head and the torso have a lot hindering them. McFarlane has a lot to figure out with their soft goods overlay. Her accessory is pretty cool, definitely from the comics. Her paint job and sculpt, the sculpt is excellent, but the paint job, I have several little flaws on mine which bother me. If I were to rate this figure, I think I'm going to give her a 7 out of 10. I like the figure, but I'm really yearning for a classic Wonder Woman. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.